may say so, Mr. Chairman, I had a bit of a Harry Potter moment when we were moving from Part 2 to Part 3. Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the train station that Harry Potter and his fellow students have to catch the train on. But I don't want to tell you the whole of the Harry Potter series because it will ruin it if you haven't already read them. But there should be a Part 2.5 on this, actually, between Part 2 and Part 3, because there's a big chunk missing. And I tell you what, Mr. Chairman, a lot of people in Canterbury are going to be very frustrated by the missing information, particularly given the fact that the Minister has absolutely steadfastly refused to take a call. I thought, it might be part of the sort of getting up, bouncing around regime that he's so highly regarded for, that he would at least stand up and take a call and provide us with the information that we have been seeking through our questions. But he isn't. So I think that he should look at what is missing between Part 2 and Part 3. Part 2 says we're going to chuck out all the councillors. Part 3 says here's some existing powers for ECAN, which isn't even a legal entity, after the start of this new regime. Well, I want to know what's going to happen to the stuff that's already started. What's going to happen to the stuff that our elected regional councillors have already started? Who is going to pick up that work? How are we going to download the brain cells of our existing regional councillors onto these as yet unknown, unappointed commissioners so that they can have some competency in carrying on the work that has been started? If we're going to pay them $2,000 a day out of my ratepayers' money, they better be giving us good quality. Mr. Chairman, let me give you an example of that. I can't see anywhere in these additional functions and powers that are being given to these $2,000 a day ministerial appointed commissioners, I can't see anywhere in this part or anywhere else in the bill a description of what is going to happen to the draft annual plan that ECAN issued less than a week ago. What is going to happen to that draft annual plan? So it was issued on the 27th of March. The public in Canterbury got a copy of it, in the whole of the ECAN area. We got a copy of it. We were told that there was going to be public consultation. Well, that's a bit of an innovation for the Minister. He won't have tripped over that particular set of words much in his lifetime. Public consultation. It's where you go out, Minister, in case you're not aware of it. It's where you actually take proposals out and give people an opportunity to read and think about them and talk with them about them within their community, and then they have a say, and then the Minister gets to hear it, or in this case the regional councillors get to hear it, and then they make decisions. But what if there is no regional councillors anymore, as is the case because we've just passed Part 2, which is how to sack your Regional Council 101. So we've got until the 30th of April to make submissions on the draft annual plan for ECAN, and ECAN no longer has councillors who can go and hear these submissions. The section in the Local Government Act which covers this says that the purpose of the annual plan is to contribute to the accountability of the local authority to the community. Rodney Hyde, as Minister for Local Government, will be very familiar with those words because he's the Minister in charge of that legislation. And I want him to tell me how an unelected, ministerial appointed commissioner can have any accountability to their local community. We don't even know who they are. We didn't vote for them. We voted for the ones that the Minister has just sacked. So how can Section 95(5)(d) of the Local Government Act be complied with? Because we don't have any local accountability from our elected councillors. We don't even have elected councillors. What will our community think of commissioners setting the budget for the coming years when they have had no public input, they don't even live in our region, and that part of the Local Government Act that I have just referred to is ignored, not because the Minister can't be bothered with it, but because he has actually voted to have his own legislation ignored. In Part 2 of this legislation, it specifically says the Local Government Act... Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman. Honourable Rodney High.
Just to answer the